Well, what would it be without a greeting from the Love and Peace Kitchen for you today? So this macaroni cheese, this was one of the dishes that would never fail to please. As you know, children are quite fussy eaters, and I had 4 boys, all of whom seemed to have different taste. But one thing I could rest assured of, if I made this macaroni cheese, it was 100%. And this was how my mother's old cook, Aaron Yanetti, used to make it. He was the most fantastic cook. So first of all, keep it simple. Cook your macaroni according to the instructions on the packet, and really keep it al dente. The macaroni is going to absorb a little bit more liquid and soften a bit, so you really need to keep it quite firm and al dente. So that my macaroni is ready. I always add salt and a little bit of oil to the water. Once I've drained the macaroni, I add olive oil and toss the macaroni in olive oil. Not only does it improve the flavor, but it also stops it from sticking together. What I do, however, is that I cut down on the amount of milk that I use and use a vegetable stock. And the vegetable stock I use for a macaroni always has a cinnamon stick in it. And I use fresh herbs, carrots, celery, have a good vegetable stock from that. You'll get the recipe at the bottom of the video. I'm now going to make my bechamel sauce and my 150 grams of butter or margarine to the stove, melt that, and I'm going to add to that a little nutmeg. Nutmeg really gives the macaroni such a lovely flavor. And nutmeg works really well with the tomato and the sauce. Okay, to the melted butter, I'm adding half a cup of plain flour. I'm going to make a roux from that. It's very useful to use a wire whisk. That way you're going to easily make sure that you don't have any lumps forming in the sauce. And this, you want to eliminate that sort of floury taste, so you need to cook it for a little while. Very often I'll substitute the flour with chana flour. That also creates a really good flavor. And then I'm going to make the sauce up using, normally what I'll use is 3/4 of a cup of stock, vegetable stock, a good strong vegetable stock, and 1 cup of milk. So that will give me a lot of flavors. There is an alternate way of doing it, a bechamel sauce, but that I'll include in the recipes for you. But this is quick and easy and effective. So now I'm going to start adding my liquid and making up my sauce. Here's my sauce. It's made up of 150 grams of butter, half a cup of flour. So I've made up the roux, cooked it gently, and then added 4 cups of liquid, using generally 3 cups of vegetable stock, 1 cup of milk. Once that creamy sauce is ready, I add salt, ground black pepper, and half a cup of grated cheese. You can add more cheese if you like, that's entirely up to you. Now the secret to this dish is to add chopped tomatoes. So I've got 3 chopped tomatoes here. I've added some finely ground black pepper. and I'm going to add salt to it, just so to ensure that the tomato is flavored. So I've added the salt, mixed the pepper and the salt in, and I'm now going to mix that into the ready cooked pasta. So this was a request by actually a number of people this week requested this macaroni cheese. So here we have the macaroni prepared, and I'm going to pour on my sauce. I'm using one of my lovely Monarch pots because those can go into the oven as well, and they really look quite hearty and natural. So I'm going to mix in my sauce. There's a good amount of sauce, which will mean that it'll really be a tasty macaroni. So now I've mixed that in perfectly well. By the way, I did add salt to the bechamel sauce. And now what one needs to do, and is always a handy tip for everybody, is always clean off your dish. It not only makes for a better looking dish, but it also keeps your pots in good condition, and it's not a lot of work to clean the pot after that. So yeah, that's really important, to always clean off whatever baking dish that you're using. And now I'm going to add grated cheese to this. What I normally do, and I quite like to do because it makes it crunchy and really nice, is to make up a gratin using brown bread, normally 2 to 3 slices, a good bunch of herbs, definitely parsley. You could use some other herbs as well if you wanted. Basil would go well, oregano. And then I add sesame seeds and sunflower seeds. Whisk that up in the Magimix, and there you have your gratin, which is absolutely delicious and crunchy on the macaroni. So either you want to stick to your traditional topping of grated cheese, or use the gratin. And so there you have it, ready to go into the oven. 180 degrees for about 20 minutes to half an hour. And once the top starts to go brown and you'll see some slight bubbles around the edge, then you know that your macaroni is well heated through and your topping is ready.